From now on, we begin a fascinating sonic journey through German progressive rock, a scene that redefined the boundaries of the genre, fusing boldness, psychedelia, poetry, and a visceral identity. If you think prog was limited to England, get ready. Germany created a hypnotic parallel universe overflowing with personality. In this first episode, we present 5 fundamental bands that built this unique and influential sound. Let us know in the comments which groups should be highlighted in our next edition. So, turn up the volume and embark with us on these amazing German progressive rock bands. Frumpy emerged in Hamburg in the early 70s, standing out due to the visceral voice of Inga Rumpf. With roots in the group The City Preachers, the band organically fused progressive rock, psychedelia, and blues. Inga brought a rare, soulful spirit to the genre, ensuring a unique identity that elevated the group to the top of the German scene at the time. The classic lineup, led by Jean-Jacques Kravitz's keyboards, created dense and engaging instrumental passages. The masterful use of the Hammond organ defined the quartet's vibrant and sophisticated sound. With a precise rhythm section and great emotional weight, Frumpy bypassed traditional prog conventions with an authentic feel. On the album Frumpy 2, the band reached the ideal balance between rock heaviness and progressive refinement. Highlights include the tracks How the Gypsy Was Born and Good Winds, true odysseys marked by dynamic shifts and breathtaking vocals. It is an absolute classic that justifies why the group is essential to understanding German rock. GROBSCHNITT emerged in Hagen in 1970, distinguishing themselves with theatrical shows full of visual effects and pyrotechnics. Led by charismatic figures like Erok on drums and effects and Willy Wildschwein on guitar and vocals, the band transformed every performance into an epic spectacle, uniting progressive music with an unforgettable and unique stage presence. Musically, the group moved between symphonic progressive rock and krautrock, injecting generous doses of humor and creativity. They were masters at building spacey atmospheres and long, almost hypnotic passages that became the group's trademark. This mix of complexity and fun earned the group a place of honor in the German scene. On the album Solar Music Live, we find one of the most monumental performances in European progressive rock. The title suite is the pinnacle of their work, diving into cosmic improvisations and transcendental moods that capture the band's visceral energy, immortalizing the sense of spectacle and mystical aura that made GROBSCHNITT an absolute legend. sure to check out our list of 10 incredible krautrock bands and dive into an intense, creative, and surprising musical experience from start to finish. Click on the card appearing at the top of your screen. Subscribe to the channel to have your comments answered with priority by our team. And don't forget to turn on notifications to be notified of news before everyone else. Kraan emerged in 1970, masterfully uniting jazz rock, prog, and funk grooves. Formed in Ulm, the band featured Helmut Hattler on bass and vocals, Peter Wohlbrandt on guitar and vocals, and Jan Friede on drums, along with saxophonist Johannes Pappert, whose electrified style brought a sharper, more modern sound. The group's main distinction lies in Hattler's pulsing and melodic bass, which drives the compositions with visceral creativity. The band balances technical virtuosity with an engaging feel, avoiding the coldness common to the genre. Kraan built a bright rhythmic identity, standing out as one of the most dynamic and authentic forces in the entire German scene. On the self-titled 1972 album, this essence shines in tracks like Sarah's Ritt durch den Schwarzwald, a peak of instrumental energy. Meanwhile, the dynamics in Head reveal the fluid transition between the introspective and the explosive. It is a fundamental work that proves how German fusion knew how to be sophisticated without losing its swing, keeping the listener hooked to the groove from start to finish. Hölderlin emerged in 1970, standing out for a delicate and poetic approach to progressive rock. Inspired by the poet Friedrich Hölderlin, the band united music and literature in a refined artistic proposal. Formed by brothers Joachim and Christian von Grumkau, the group began its journey with a sound that blended folk sensitivity with prog ambition. With a strong presence of violins, flutes, and cellos, the group created soundscapes that evoked medieval and bucolic moods. The fusion of acoustic arrangements, classical music, and progressive elements resulted in a contemplative and detailed sound. It was progressive rock with a folk soul, focused on soft textures and rich instrumental nuances. On the 1972 album Hölderlins Traum, this cinematic atmosphere reaches its peak. The track Traum enchants with its dreamlike atmosphere and the delicate dialogue between flute and violin, while Peter reveals the band's more sensitive and ethereal side, featuring the striking voice of Nanny de Ruik. It is a must-listen for anyone seeking the more lyrical and pastoral side of the German progressive movement.
Peter hatte Mief und Fernsehen satt und ließ auf Banden ihn und schlugen ihn, nahmen Berge, Wälder und Blumen vergehen.
Novalis emerged in 1971, named after the great German Romantic poet. Led by the grand keyboards of Lutz Rahn and the vocals and guitar of Detlef Job, the group delved into symphonic progressive rock. By using German lyrics, the band strengthened its local identity and translated the spirit of classical romanticism into rock. The sound featured the solid rhythm section of Heino Schunzel and Hartwig Bierreichel, creating an expansive and spiritual sound. Novalis built an aesthetic that rivals British prog, but with its own introspective sensitivity. The use of synthesizers and noble melodies gave the group a unique aura of sophistication. On the 1975 self-titled album, the piece Der Schmetterlinge lachen hört is a pinnacle of lyricism. The track Impressionen adapts themes from Austrian composer Anton Bruckner, while Es farbte sich du weiße Grün uses original verses by the poet Novalis. It is a technically impeccable record where German music and literature merge into an epic sonic journey.
Ein Geist schien mir erwacht, der dieses hat vollbracht.
What an incredible trip through German prog. We've gone through bands that expanded the limits of rock, uniting experimentation, poetry, and that unique boldness of the 1970s German scene. More than just music, what we saw here was the construction of unforgettable atmospheres and identities. Now, I want to hear from you. Which German bands need to be in the next episode? Leave your suggestion in the comments. It might become the next highlight on the channel. Let's continue exploring this fantastic sonic universe together. If you enjoyed the content, share it with those friends who truly live for music. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us in this mission to celebrate the best of progressive rock. Thanks for watching until the end. See you next time.